When speaking mathematically, there are certain terms that it's just good to know. So a few of these are sum, which is the result of adding, difference, which is the result of subtracting, product, which is the result of multiplying, and quotient, which is the result of dividing. You'll also see more than, which signifies addition, or it could be like a greater than sign, and less than, which usually signifies subtraction or a less than sign. It just kind of depends on how the sentence looks. So, for example, if I was looking at these, it says write an equation representing each sentence. So 13 more than a number x is 16. So this is 16 is telling me it's going to equal 16. So instead of using a greater than or less than sign, we are going to have an equation. It also told us we were doing an equation. So if it's 13 more than a number x, we've got an x and we want 13 more than that. So we're going to add 13 to it, and that equals 16. So it is 16. Oh, don't know what that was. Equals 16. There we go. Technically, in addition, order doesn't matter, but with more than, you are signifying that you're doing it greater than the x, so I like to write it second. For 5 less than a number n is 4. 5 is being taken away from the n. So we've got n, and then it's 5 less than that. So we're going to subtract 5, and then is, once again, is an equal sign, so is 4. When you have words like the product of 7 and a number g is 10, sometimes I like to write the signs underneath them. So product I know is multiplying, and then is I know is equals. Same with these, I could have done a plus sign and a minus sign to help me remember what I was using. So if it's the product of n and a number g, we can just do, if 7 and a number g, we've got 7, and then we're going to multiply it by g, because that's what product means, and when they're touching, they're multiplying, and then is 10. So equals 10. When you use words like product or quotient or sum or difference, the order that I see them in is the order that I'm going to write them in. So I saw 7, I wrote 7. I saw g, I wrote g. 2 less than 5 times the number w is 10. So I know this is, so it's equals. We've got a less than, so that's minus. And this time they just use the word times, so that's going to be multiplying. So it's 5 times the number w. So I've got 5 times the number w, so they're touching, so they're multiplying. And then it's 2 less than that. So I'm going to do minus 2 equals 10. So there's some hints that I have on how to do these, because sometimes people get confused. So one hint I have is when using the words sum, difference, quotient, and product, write the terms of the equation from left to right. So I see the quotient of a number x and 6. So I see x first, so I'm going to write x first. Then I see 6, so I've got 6 next, and it's the quotient of those, so I'm dividing. And then is 18, so I write that last. The one people more frequently get confused about are the more than, less than. So when using the phrases more than and less than, write the terms from right to left if these are hard for you. So what I mean by that is I first see 30, so I'm actually just going to start with 30. And then is equals, and then I've got 15 less than number x. So x comes next going from left to right, so I've got x, and then less than is the minus, and then 15. So that's the exact same thing if I'd written x minus 15 equals 30. But this way I didn't get confused and write 15 minus x, which is different than x minus 15. So if more than and less than are difficult for you, I would write them this way. So going back to my original example, here, if I wanted to do it with that technique, I would have written I see 16 first, and then is equals, then I see an x, then more than 13. So that means the exact same thing as what's above it, I just switched the placement of the 16. Same with this, I see 4 first, so 4 is, and then I see an n, and then less than 5. So that also means the same as this. So if you get confused by less than and more thans and you switch them, I would try this technique of going from left to right. So why don't you guys use this and try out the practice problems.